Alright, what is up everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, I'm going to be talking about every team's Summer League standout. Summer League has finished, and I'm going to go through every team and talk about who the guy that stood out, who was their best player at Summer League in 2026. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn on notifications, doing all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Like my Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't want to see any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So first guy we're starting with for the Atlanta Hawks, Kobe Buffkin. Stood out this year. Summer League, he averaged 19.5 points, over 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. He did not shoot the ball super well. Only 35% from the field, 26% from 3. But he's getting to the free throw line a lot. 7 free throw attempts per game where he shot 96%. And I just liked his ability to create. You know, even though he wasn't making a whole lot of shots, you know, he was getting fouled a lot. His ability to get to the basket, you know, not being afraid to get to the rim, you know, looked like he put on some extra muscle a little bit. He's a guy that hasn't really been a factor in his first 2 years of his career after being a lottery pick, or I think just outside the lottery pick back in 2023. And he hasn't really been a factor. And now with the Hawks kind of having a little hole at the backup point guard position, Buffkin is trying to make his name for himself. And so far in Summer League, he shows some signs of being able to create, being able to make the right passes, being able to get to the basket. I think he showed some pretty solid things. And with especially a lot of injuries that plagued his first 2 seasons, now he's finally healthy, looks a little bit more, you know, put on some more weight, muscular, you know, stronger. And now hopefully he can build off his good Summer League and maybe be a rotational player next year. For the Boston Celtics, we're going with Charles Bassie. Played in 3 games, he averaged 15 points, tied for the league leader in Summer League with 11 rebounds, along with 2 blocks while shooting 70% from the field. Bassie has been a guy that's been around the league for a little bit, played with the Sixers, the Spurs, and when he does get minutes, I think he's solid. A big man that rebounds the ball, scores inside, just does like all the little big man things that you expect. And in Boston, he showed off in Summer League. He's been around the league for a little while, so I expect him to kind of have some big Summer League games, and he did. And now it's kind of like, what is next for Charles Bassie? Because I think he only had like a 3-game contract before he had to leave. So I don't know, is he going overseas? Is he going to be in the league? The Celtics do have kind of a hole at center right now, where, you know, Al Horford's probably not coming back. There's a big hole right there. So maybe after this Summer League, I thought maybe they'd offer a roster spot to Bassie, which could still happen. I'm not sure. But I think Charles Bassie does have a spot somewhere in the NBA as being just a good backup big man that can rebound the ball and block some shots and do all the, you know, typical big man things that you'd want. For the Brooklyn Nets, going Drew Timme. Drew Timme averaged 25 points per game this Summer League, 8 rebounds, a steal on 55% shooting. This is the kind of spots and scenarios where Drew Timme goes off. Now, especially the Nets have a lot of guys that are ball handlers and pass first type players, and Drew Timme was just feeding. The offense would literally just feed Timme down low, and that's what he does. I mean, he's a guy that can score in the post. You know, we know about his college career at Gonzaga. He was one of the all-time leaders over there, just getting buckets in the paint. And even last year when he got called up at the end of the year by the Nets out of the G League, he has some decent games. Does he have an NBA future? I'm not sure. Maybe he does. Who knows? With the Nets being in a spot right now where they're rebuilding and they're going to be bad, why not give a spot to Drew Timme? I mean, every time he comes out on the court, he dominates to some capacity. So why not give him a chance? But in Summer League, this was like his time to get off. And, you know, I knew when he was on the roster, I was like, yeah, Drew Timme's going to have some big games. And he did. He had some really big games. For the Charlotte Hornets, the Summer League champion Charlotte Hornets, going with Colin Kneppel, who won the MVP of Summer League. He averaged 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. He shot 40% from the field, 34% from 3. Just played very, very well. I mean, didn't shoot the ball super well in every game, especially his first game. I forgot. I think he made like 1 or 2 shots the entire first game. But just the way he plays. And we knew Kneppel was a type of pick that he's just a safe pick, a guy with a high floor, come in, can make an impact, not going to do too much, and just be a baller. And that's what he did in Summer League. He showed, you know, being a connecting piece, making the right plays, the right passes, trying hard defensively, hustling for loose balls, hitting shots where he needs to, creating a little bit for himself and for others. Just being that type of just high IQ, good basketball player where he's not going to do much wrong on the court. And that's what he did for the Hornets in Vegas that led them to winning the championship. So yeah, Colin Kneppel was a great pick and just kind of solidifying that he was the right pick at the 4th spot. But the Hornets had some other guys. I mean, Lee McNeely has some good games. KJ Simpson played very well. Like, the Hornets played really good as a team, but Colin Kneppel really stood out. For the Chicago Bulls, going with Matas Buzelis. He only played in 2 games, But he averaged 22.5 points, 5 rebounds, a steal, 1.5 blocks, shot 43% from the field. Just the confidence. This year two players, especially that guys that are just as high as Matas, are supposed to show dominance, are supposed to be look like, kings in the summer league. That's what Matas did. His explosiveness getting to the rim, his confidence in shooting the ball, his defensive ability, doing everything on the court. That's what he did. That's why he only played in 2 games. But the Bulls have some fun guys. I mean, Jameer Young had a 40-point game. Noah Senge showed some decent things. Yuki Kawamura is always exciting to watch. He got a 2-way contract out of it. So there's a lot of picks, honestly, for the Bulls. But I went with Matas because he was just, in the 2 games he showed, he just kind of was like, yeah, this guy is too good for summer league. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jalen Tyson will be the guy. He averaged 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and a block on 40% shooting. He was out there doing everything. He was every game he was on triple-double watch. 19 6-6 averages, just doing a little bit of everything. Passing, his passing really, really stood out, being kind of like the main ball handler a little bit. He was making the right plays. His scoring was on display as well. His defense, his intensity, his hustle. And I'm excited for Jalen Tyson. He maybe could crack a shot in the rotation for the Cavaliers next year. And with his ability of being a guy that can just kind of do whatever you ask him to do, he's going to go out there and do it to the best of his ability. Having a guy like that, Swiss Army knife, and is really good to have. And he showed in Summer League that he can do a little bit of everything. We also had Naquan Tomlin had some big games. Tyrese Proctor had a 35-point game. So he had some moments from other guys, but Jalen Tyson really stood out. I was like, dang, he's really control of everything. For the Dallas Mavericks, it has to be Cooper Flag. He only played in 2 games, but in the second game especially, he showed why he's that good. He averaged 20.5 points, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.5 steals, and a block in the 2 games he played. Of course, struggled in his first game against the Lakers. He did many other things, made some good passes, played some good defense, but could not hit a shot. Then the second game against the Spurs, he really turned it up. You saw the ability to put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. The shooting ability was solid. The ability to play within the offense, too. In terms of making fat passes on the fast break, making good defensive plays, leaving it all out there, just being a connecting piece that also has some huge upside. You saw that in 2 games he did play, especially in that second game against the Spurs. Really nice to see him kind of have one of those big pop-off games before they shut him down. For the Denver Nuggets, we're going to Ron Holmes. He was the guy that unfortunately got hurt and got his rookie season taken away last year because of Summer League. Came back this year, and I really like what I saw from him. Averaged 13, 9.5 rebounds, shot 42% from 3, 51% for the field. He was doing a lot of different things that you like if you're Denver. His rebounding was really good. His defense was really solid. His ability to shoot the 3 ball, 42% on almost 5 attempts per game as a center. His ability to put the ball on the floor, get to the basket, his ability to kind of be a connecting piece a little bit and not doing too much while shooting very efficiently. He's a very intriguing player. He's not your typical big 7-foot rim runner type center. He could do a little bit more than that. And seeing his game in Summer League has me really excited for what he potentially could be for the Denver Nuggets next season. For the Detroit Pistons, we're going Ron Holland. Similar to what I said about Montas Rosales, where second-year players that especially were rotational guys supposed to come into Summer League in year 2 and be look dominant. And that's what he did. He averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 steals, 52% from the field, 46% from 3 on 5 attempts. He was all over the court. His energy was infectious. He was just picking pockets everywhere, getting defensive stops, getting to the basket, hitting threes, just making it look way too easy, looking too good for Summer League. And I'm really excited to see what Ron Holland can turn into. He was a guy that was a top high school prospect, fell a little bit in the draft at 5. He's more of just an energy guy for Detroit last year. And I'm really interested to see what he looks like for the future in terms of, can he be a little bit more than an energy guy? Can he be a 2-way monster? Can he be a guy that can become a solid 3-point shooter? Can he have the ball a little bit more in his hands? What are we going to see from Ron Holland next year? And that Summer League has you really thinking about what that could look like. For the Golden State Warriors, we're going to Chris Manon. I don't know 100% sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but Chris Manon, he came from Vanderbilt last year. He used to play at Cornell. Played with the Warriors, averaged 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block on 50% shooting. And it also just got a 2-way contract by the Lakers. So congrats to him. Just a defender. A guy that defends hard. High IQ guy. Is not really going to do too much. High energy. That type of dude. And you saw it, when he came out with the Warriors. They didn't have a super fun Summer League, but you saw him defending, and him, when he got an opportunity, he was making shots. He also got to the free throw line. He took the same amount of free throws as field goal attempts per game. So he's hard-nosed, energy, defense, and maybe has a spot somewhere for the Lakers. For the Houston Rockets, it's Reed Shepherd. In his 2 games he did play, he looked good. Averaged 23, 5.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 4 steals, 1.5 blocks. Didn't shoot the ball super crazy well, but he also took 11 3-pointers per game, so I'm not expecting him to shoot the ball crazy well. But just the comfortability, him going out there, I expected him. I mean, he popped off last year as a rookie in Summer League, so you only expect year two of Summer League. He's going to do even better, and that's what he did. And he's a very interesting case. He kind of needs to be a rotational player next year for the Rockets. They don't really have backup point guard play, and with him being a former top 3 pick, I mean, they expect him to come out and be a rotational player. He could be a guy that can, initiate offense, can score a little bit, defend. Just a high IQ player. I like Reece Shepard a lot. He's a really high IQ guy that I think has a spot in the league. He just really needs to start figuring it out. And I think with the Rockets, with their high expectations, I expect him to come out next year and be like, not saying be a starter or take Fred's spot or anything like that, but just be a decent rotational player. I think he can do that. But in Summer League, I expect him to go off, and he did have some games where he went off. For the Indiana Pacers, we're going with Enrique Freeman. He averaged 16 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, almost 2 blocks. He shot 72% from the field and 55% from 3. He had a really good summer. Guy that was, I think, drafted really late in the second round, 2024. Didn't play a lot as a rookie last year. And so far in Summer League, he was really good. With the Pacers having kind of a center hole, maybe Freeman's trying to, get that spot. He's a smaller center, but he's a high energy guy, high IQ basketball player. I really liked his game at Akron. He rebounds the ball. He averaged almost 3 offensive rebounds per game in Vegas. Despite him being only like about 6'8", 6'9", he can block shots. He can get up. He's got a little bit of shooting potential. So maybe Enrique Freeman is trying to position himself into being, someone that gets a look next year for the Pacers. But I've been a big Freeman fan, and I hope he does get a shot at some point. For the LA Clippers, going with Jordan Miller. He averaged 22, almost 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. He shot 53% from the field, 38% from 3. I've been a big Jordan Miller fan. I really liked him at Miami. I think he maybe has a shot somewhere in the league as a Swiss Army knife. He's a guy that can kind of do a little bit of everything. He can shoot the ball solidly. He can handle the ball a little bit. He can defend. He can rebound. You can play him in different spots. I think he's like a glue guy, Swiss Army knife connecting piece. And he hasn't really gotten an opportunity for the Clippers in his first 2 years. Actually got waived this summer, but I think he's going to get picked up again. I don't know if he did or not already, but they want to keep him around, I think. But I think Jordan Miller is really nice, and he has some good games in Summer League where he showed, he can hoop, man. He really can hoop. And if he doesn't get picked up, if the Clippers don't pick him back up, maybe someone else picks him up and gives him a chance. I don't know. But I really like Jordan Miller. I've been a fan of his for a while, and I really liked that he came out in Summer League and just kind of showed, hey, I can still hoop, LA. For the Lakers, going with Cole Swider. He has been hooping in Summer League, averaged over 17 points with 7 rebounds, shooting 41% from 3 on almost 9 attempts. He is a shooter. That's what we've known about him. He's been around for the last couple of years as like a 2-way contract, G League guy, and in Summer League kind of just, building off that, showing how good he is. A sniper that also can rebound a little bit. And maybe, I don't know, teams are looking at him as a shooter. Maybe someone's going to offer him a little 2-way or something contract and be like, hey, come over here and just be a floor spacer for us. That's what his role is in the league. And I think, he has some big games. He has some really good games where he was just, knocking it down. So, I think Cole Swider's solid. Maybe he gets a shot somewhere because it was the Lakers and everybody watches the Lakers, and maybe they saw how he can shoot and be like, hey, why not give him a chance? For the Memphis Grizzlies, Cam Spencer will be the guy. Averaged just under 18 points per game with 3 rebounds, 2.5 assists, shot 38% from 3 on 7 attempts. Was just solid. We got a regular standard contract now, after showing some little flashes last year as a rookie, and this year in the summer showed that he was really good. Making shots, hitting threes, being a connecting piece, making the right plays, tough energy guy. That's what he does, But the Grizzlies had a lot of guys. Javon Small had some decent moments. Jalen Wells, G. Jackson had a big game. Jabari Mashak showing his defensive potential. He had some good moments from a lot of Grizzlies, but Cam Spencer was, I feel like, the most consistent guy for them. For the Miami Heat, we're going with Pele Larson. He averaged 18 points, almost over 3 assists on solid shooting. Became a rotational guy at some point for them last year, out of Arizona, and just building on it this summer, being able to get to the basket and not being afraid to shoot the 3 ball, getting to the free throw line. Took almost 10 free throw attempts per game, and being a good defender. He had other guys like Khalil Ware, Kaspar, Shaka Jonas, but I feel like they were a little bit too more inconsistent. Khalil Ware is very up and down. Kaspar's had one good game, but after that, just still kind of struggled to shoot a little bit. But Pele Larson was the most consistent, where you saw him on the court, and he was consistently the best player on the court for the Miami Heat. So that's why we're going with him. And he's a solid rotational piece. I like him from Miami as just like a 2-way guy that's not really going to do too much. Be able to put the ball on the floor, get to the basket. He's going to defend hard. For the Milwaukee Bucks, going with Chris Livingston. He was amazing this summer. Averaged almost 21 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 49% from the field, 38% from 3. He was really good. He actually got waived right before Summer League started, and after his Summer League got picked up again by Milwaukee on a 1-year deal. And yeah, he was a guy that was a top high school guy, went to Kentucky, didn't have a great freshman year, still decided to go to the draft anyway. Got picked up by Milwaukee really late in the draft and just hasn't really gotten an opportunity at all in the first 2 years of his career. But he's a wing that's very athletic, very strong, can put his head down and get to the rim. Solid 3-point shooter, has some solid offensive, some solid traits that you can look and pan and see if he can pan out. And he's still only like, what, 20, 21 years old, if that. He's still very young as well. So maybe there's some potential there in Milwaukee, especially with, the bench and the depth not amazing next year. Maybe Chris Livingston gets a shot at some point, for the real team, but he had a very, very good Vegas. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, going with Terrence Shannon Jr., he was taking over in Vegas, averaged over 22.5 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Shot 47% from the field, 38% from 3. Just some absolutely dominant moments. You saw a little flashes here and there, especially in the playoffs for the Timberwolves last year, and he came out in Vegas and showed he was the best player on the court most times he was out there. I mean, getting to the rim, getting out in transition, the playmaking really stood out as having the ball in his hands and making the right passes and the right reads to his teammates. We know he can get to the basket. The 3-point shot was pretty solid. Just looked way, way, way too good for Vegas Summer League. And he's a guy that's going to get relied on a little bit. Like Nickeil Alexander-Walker leaving, he's going to get time next year in the rotation. And this is what Minnesota drafted him for. He's a guy that played a long time in college, is older, experience, has some, already has some experience to him. And after this Vegas, you kind of can look a little bit more confidently and be like, yeah, he can come in and he can fill that role in his own way. For the New Orleans Pelicans, we're going with Jeremiah Fears, their lottery pick this year. He averaged 17 points, 3 rebounds, and a steal on 40% shooting. Didn't shoot the 3-ball very well, but you saw the confidence that he had with it, his ability to get to the basket, get buckets, has some solid playmaking plays. Just a really solid summer league. Where he had some big scoring opportunities, getting to the free throw line. He took 6 free throw attempts per game. That's what he does. He drives to the basket. He likes to create by, being aggressive at the rim. And you saw that a little bit in summer league. And he's going to probably get some real burn for the Pelicans next season. I'm very interested to see how it works. But you definitely saw some things in Vegas that made you look and be like, oh, okay, yeah, he's going to be pretty good in the league. He's got an exciting, good play style for a little guard. The New York Knicks going with Kevin McCullough Jr. He only played in 2 games, but in the 2 games he did play, he was really good. He averaged 21.5 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, on 51% shooting. I was a huge Kevin McCullough fan. If you've been a fan of the channel, seen my draft stuff, I've been a big Kevin McCullough guy. Out of Kansas. Think he's just a really good, ultimate kind of glue guy, winning player type of dude. And unfortunately, he's had injuries in the past year or two that hasn't really been able to live up to his full potential, hasn't really been able to play too much. But in Vegas, he was really good. Being able to shoot the ball, just not really having to do too much. Can be a ball handler, can defend, he's got a really long wingspan, and just can play in that winning environment. So I hope Kevin McCullough gets a chance for some team at some point, because I really do think he can become a really good role player in the league. The OKC Thunder, we're going Chris Youngblood. Thunder had a lot of guys that were really good. AJ Mitchell was awesome. Nikola Topic showed some really good moments. Even had like Brooks Barnhizer, Brandon Carlson. But Chris Youngblood really stood out. From Alabama, was around college basketball for a while, and he came out and played really well. Averaged 12 points, 2 rebounds, and a steal. He shot 52% from 3 on 5 attempts. He was shooting the lights out. And honestly, don't be too shocked if he does get an NBA contract, a 2-way or something at some point from a team, because he was really, really good. The confidence and his ability to shoot the ball, playing in the right, playing the right way, kind of being, not having to do too much, playing off of Mitchell and Topic that were finding him for shots, locking in defensively, and even had some moments where he was like kind of like the leader, like pulling teams in the huddles, being like, hey, this is what we got to do. Like he showed a lot in summer league. I was really impressed by him, and I think he gets a chance for some team on a 2-way contract next season. For the Orlando Magic, going Tristan Da Silva. He only played in 2 games, but in the 2 games he played, he averaged 18.5 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal on a block, shot 50% from the field, 38% from 3, just doing all-around things. I'm a big Tristan Da Silva fan. Loved him at Colorado. Was a really good pick for the Magic. Had some good moments. He was a starter at one point for Orlando because of injury, and he was solid. And I expect him to be a rotational piece next year, just being a 6'8", 6'9" wing that can do it all. He can shoot the ball. He shot the ball very well in Vegas. He buys in defensively. He makes the right passes. He rebounds. He doesn't do too much wrong on the court. And I love players like that. And Tristan da Silva really showed in summer league. Yeah, he's way too good for this. Jace Richardson also played very well. Shot the ball really good in the 2 games he did play in Vegas as well. For the Sixers, going VJ Edgecombe. Even though he only played, I think, in 1.5 games in Utah, the 1 game in Vegas, he still was really impressive that first game against Utah. That really stood out. 28 points. He was awesome. In the 1 game he played in Vegas, he had 15, 3 steals and a block. Didn't shoot the ball super well, but you like the things you see in VJ. Being able to get to the basket, not being afraid to shoot the jump shot. Defensively, he can really lock in. He's super athletic as well. Just, you saw already in those little sample sizes, you saw the Sixers might have made the right pick over there, because he just moves and acts like he's going to be a really good player in this league. And the little flashes we saw in the summer league has me really excited for what VJ could be in the future. For the Phoenix Suns, we're going with Boogie Ellis. Boogie was a guy that was a top high school guy, went to USC. Things didn't really work out too much. Has been in the G League, Summer League. And in Summer League, he was really good for the Suns. Averaged 14, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 57% from 3. He was on fire. He ended Summer League off very, very well. And yeah, as a smaller guard that is exciting, can shoot the 3 ball, can create for himself, a little bit of solid passer, averaged 2 steals per game as well. He's locked in defensively. Maybe after the Summer League gets a shot somewhere as a 2-way guy. He's a very exciting player. So, hopefully he can get some shots somewhere. But the Suns also has some other guys. Ryan Dunn played well. Also Godaro. Kobe Brea was amazing as well in Summer League. But Boogie Ellis really stood out. I was like, dang, he was really fun and exciting to watch. For the Portland Trailblazers, Han Yang. He has really been taking over Summer League with his play. He averaged 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks, 45% shooting. Just the fun play style he has. Being a big center, that the passing ability that he had, the plays he was making was really nice, fighting people on back cuts and stuff. His shot blocking ability was really, really enticing as well. His ability to shoot the ball, score in the paint. 3 ball was solid, shot 33%. Only took 3 threes a game. Not a big part of his game, but he was taking them and made some of them. And just really fun. And probably looks a lot more developed, a lot more skilled than maybe what we thought. There's maybe a chance that he is a player for the Blazers next year, when I thought when they first drafted he's going to be a project, which he still kind of is. Not saying he's going to be a star or anything right away. It's going to take some years, of course. But after the Summer League, it kind of looks a little bit more died down of maybe Portland wasn't super crazy for taking him as high as they did. For the Sacramento Kings, going Nick Clifford. Had a really good Vegas. He averaged 15, 6.5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. Really good at shooting, 49% from the field, 45% from 3. I'm a big fan of Nick Clifford. Love his game at Colorado State. Fell in the draft, and I love the pick by the Kings, trading in to get him at 24, and just really proving me right and proving everyone right at Vegas. Just a guy that can literally do everything on the court. He can shoot, he can rebound, he can defend, he can pass, he can score. Anything you need him to do, he can do it, and he do it to a really good ability. He's a real definition of a Swiss Army knife. I think he could be a really good rotational player for the Kings. He could play right away, and I think he's going to have a really good career in the NBA. And in Vegas, I loved watching him play. It was really awesome to see him go out and kind of do what we all thought he was going to do. For the San Antonio Spurs, going with David Jones Garcia. He was lighting up Summer League, averaged over 21.5 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 52% from the field, almost 53% from 3. He was just on an absolute heater in Vegas. He had some other guys like Dylan Harper, Carter Bryant, really were good, but David Jones was awesome. Bucket getter. He had some big games in college. He was a top scorer. G League last year is really good. And in Vegas, he really showed. As a lefty that is crafty, be able to get to the basket, solid 3-point shooter, good ball handler, be able to get to the rim. I don't think he got signed to a 2-way or anything yet, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get one eventually at some point, because I think he had a way too good of a Vegas to kind of go overseas or go back to the G League, full time, or not get at least a try on a 2-way contract. He was really, really good. For the Toronto Raptors, going AJ Lawson. He averaged 18.5 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 50% from the field, 45% from 3. One of those guys that's been around the league for a little while. I'm honestly surprised he's still playing in Summer League, but he was great. He had some good moments last year for the Raptors, and I think he's a player. 6'5", 6'6", wing that plays with a lot of energy and a lot of heart. Is athletic, can get to the basket, shoot the 3 ball pretty solid, is going to defend hard, and just plays really hard. And yeah, he was really good in Vegas was turning up a lot. You also had some other guys like Jacoby Walter had some solid games. Colin Murray Boyles got it going late. Elijah Martin from Florida played really well, but AJ Lawson was really like on another level. For the Utah Jazz, Kyle Filipowski was probably the best player in Summer League overall. Averaged over 29 points per game, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 56% from the field, 39% from 3. He was just absolutely a monster. You know, I mean, he has some moments last year as a rookie with the Jazz, especially at the end of the year, where he looked really good. And so far in Vegas, just backing it up, just making it look too easy, being in the right spots at the right time, his guys finding him, being able to put the ball on the floor and get to the rim, shooting the 3 ball really well, being athletic, being just a guy that can kind of do so many different things offensively, work at the post, cut, did everything basically, scored in every way possible. And it looks like he could be a guy that maybe could be a part of the Jazz future. I mean, he was a projected first round pick before falling a little bit in the draft down to early second. And with the spacing and style of the NBA, he has the potential to kind of go off and show some things. And he's done it so far. So I'm really interested to see how he comes in next season, coming off this really amazing Vegas, how he comes into, in the real season next year, and see if he can build off that and maybe really establish himself as one of the key pieces of the Jazz for the future. And finally, for the Wizards, Trey Johnson. He was really fun to watch. He only played in 2 games, but in the 2 games, he averaged 19.5 points, shot 58% from the field, 45% from 3. He was absolutely electric to watch as a bucket getter, which we knew he was. But just be able to, get to the rim, shooting the 3 ball, being a guy that every time you put the ball in hands, I feel like something was going to happen. He was just really good. It's got a lot of people hyped as a potential key piece of the Wizards' future. And yeah, I mean, that was a really fun Vegas to watch. I mean, the move he made off of Malawach's leg where he threw the ball off, got it back, a layup. I mean, he's just so fun to watch. I think he's going to have a really good NBA career. And this Vegas was probably was one of the more exciting players to watch in Vegas. Yeah, it's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know down in the comment section below who your favorite guys to watch in Summer League, some guys that stood out to you in Vegas. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turning on notifications, doing all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.